This is Joe Pratt. It's January 22nd, and this is our Zoom conference call at 4 p.m., mainly to discuss the current status of NAMTAI NTP. But first, I'd like to go over the AVC portfolio performance. We're out 15 months, and just to summarize, we're up 50%. What's notable is we've had several double your monies, up 100%. Those include PRVB, Lundin Mining, LUNMF, QSR, NTG, BCDA, DMRC, CEQP, ARWR, and OPIK, and lastly INNM. Secondly, we've had some multi-baggers, NWBO, GTBIF, SAVA, which is an Alzheimer's hopeful, ABR, DINE, DMRC, JOE, and CF. Well, that's the performance. Let's go on to NAMTAI. What's coming up here that's very significant is the final arguments tomorrow, January 23rd, and then Wednesday, January 24th. There's been a trial going on for 2 weeks in the British Virgin Islands, which has been available to the public on Zoom provided by the BVI court. And it's been apparent that the judge has been persuaded that Kaiser, headed by the Quocks, KWOKS, have done some egregious things against the shareholders, the main of which was issuing a $170 million private placement at $9.15 a share, which increased the shares outstanding by 15% from 40 million to 60 million without shareholder approval. In general, when something trades on the New York Stock Exchange, shareholder approval is required if more than 20%, there's going to be more than a 20% increase in the shares outstanding. They didn't do that. Technically, they were under BVI rule where the 20% doesn't maintain. But friends of mine who are observers, diligent observers of the trial, believe that on March 3rd or March 4th, that the judge is going to rule that he's going to rule in favor of the dissidents. And what he will do at that time is set a record date for a special shareholders meeting 10 days after March 4th, approximately, which would mean that the special shareholders meeting would be on April 15th. At that time, the dissidents should have together 51% of the vote and win and have their slate of 6 board members, including Peter Kellogg, become the new board members. The net of all that would be that they would run the company differently. They would focus on completing the 2 projects that were started about 5 years ago. And when those are finished altogether in 1 or 2 years, they would presumably proceed to sell the company. And presumably the target would be, that I would envision, would be approximately $40 a share. Recently, the dissidents had 2 appraisals done in the past 3 to 6 months, one which came up with $25 a share, one which came up with $40 a share. Now, the big issue here, the big change that's going to take place when you get the court ruling, is a shift in the, obviously, as I've said, in the board of director control. Right now, it is Kaiser, which is a large Chinese real estate company, a REIT, owns 25%. Their history with NAMTAI goes back to 2017, excuse me, when they bought out the entrepreneur Ming Ku. He owned 17%. They bought him out at around $17 a share. Then they went into the market, bought more stock, and took themselves up to 25% ownership. But they've been treating NAMTAI pretty much as a piggy bank. And for example, they went off and bought an extra piece of land for $100 million, which takes away from the focus of getting the two projects, Guanming and Gushu, completed. But when the Kwaks bought the stock, the world, from previous things they'd done, knew that they didn't abide by the rule of law, let's just say. And one can go to the AVC website, number 12, in the model portfolio, and we've provided a link to 5 or so Financial Times articles which talk about how when the Kwaks got in trouble with some debt in 2015 and caused a loss of 30 to 50 million with the banks, that the court system in China vigorously went after them. They got out of that situation about 2 years later, at about the time they went after NAMTAI. So what's going to happen here is the perception, because of the Kwaks and their past wrongdoings highlighted in those Financial Times articles, is NAMTAI, as it's currently positioned with the Kwaks in control, is really, for American institutional investors and many American retail investors, it's an uninvestable situation. The Kwaks are just not trustworthy. They've done a lot of illegal things in the past. But this could all change when the special shareholders meeting on approximately April 15 elects a new board of directors. I think at that time the stock should be at least $15 a share, up from the current $9.50, and from there on out, depending on how well the company's managed by the new management team and the new board, the stock should rise, with the potential being somewhere between the $25 and $50 appraisal values. I might note a couple of things we've pointed out in the latest AlphaVestCapital write-up on number 12, NAMTAI, in the model portfolio. We were sent by some friends in Shenzhen a picture of the second project called Technology City. We knew it in the past as Gushu, and the SEC filings have discussed Technology City very little. We didn't think that the building was up much higher than the foundation level. From these pictures, one of which I've posted at the AVC report on our website, shows the one building's up 12 stories, another building's up about 7, and 2 buildings are up 5. This is far, the completion is far greater than we had imagined. As was stated in the December SEC filing, Guanming is approximately 43% leased. It's our belief that the Shenzhen real estate situation remains strong, and in particular, residential properties remain strong. One thing I'd like to point out is that we did an analysis a couple of months ago when we saw a Bloomberg article about the high value of small apartments in Shenzhen. We calculated that there were approximately 3,600 units in the two properties, because each property is going to be approximately 1/3 residential. And the math on that is that 3,600 times what Bloomberg estimated to be the worth of a small apartment, namely $900,000, came out at $45 a share just for the residential. Let's see what else I can comment on. So the timeline here specifically is February 22nd, February 23rd, the final arguments. That's what we're hearing. Then any time between then and March 3rd or March 4th, the judge could make his ruling. At the time of his ruling, we expect him to say that a record date of approximately March 15th has been set for a special shareholders meeting, and between March 15th and April 15th, the dissidents are going to work to make sure that they have 51% of the vote. I should note that they will be marketing their position, obviously, promoting the effort to get as many votes as possible above 50%. And one of the things they could do is they could post the transcripts of the past 2 weeks' court hearings at their site, which is called Fix, F-I-X, NAMTAI.com. So after the March 4th verdict by the court, I'm expecting the dissidents to post the transcripts of those 2 weeks of court hearings at fixnamtai.com. I'll also draw your attention to the link we've provided in our write-up, which is the link to the 5 Financial Times articles about the egregious behavior of the Kaiser Kwok people in 2015. We expect the judge to reverse the $170 million private placement, which created 20 million additional shares, taking it up to 60 million shares from 40 million shares. So we expect the share count to go back to 40 million. And with the new management team and the new board, we expect that there will be clarity as to the accounting for these properties that there has not been heretofore. In the December quarter, the company had very strong earnings because they brought in half of the residential properties. They brought in half the cash of 122 million. They brought it into the income statement, and it created a large profit. They brought in half the cash, which were deposits on the residential units at Guanming. But we have no idea what the life of those leases is, so a complete accounting picture is needed. If there are any questions or comments you have, please send me an email to jhpratt@alphavestcapital.com. Also, I'm interested if you have any ideas about other investment opportunities that AlphaVestCapital.com should consider. Please also send those to jhpratt@alphavestcapital.com. Thank you very much. It's been good talking with you. Thank you.